Are we recording?
Look at that. Sharon's got our back. Thank you,
Thank you,
Sharon.
Sharon.
Appreciate it. All right. So then, hello everyone again. Thank you for joining us today. We're really excited to share more about Nurture Minds and the SEGA volunteer opportunities at the SEGA Girls School in Tanzania this summer. My name's Miranda, for those of you who don't know me, and I work for Nurturing Minds in partnership with SEGA to support the cultural exchange and volunteer programs, and I will be moderating today's conversation. So today, our goal is to give you a real look into what volunteering in our science and robotics programs look like, from the volunteer experience to the incredible growth that we see in the SEGA students. You'll hear from program leaders like Bree and Ming, and past volunteers like Angela who are joining us today about what the programs look like, what volunteers actually do each day, and how you can get involved this summer. We'll also share student voices, a day in the life experience from a past volunteer, and walk through logistics and how to apply. You will leave time at the end for questions as well, so feel free to drop those in the chat at any time. Sharon is going to be monitoring the chat for us, and so we'll make sure we answer all of your questions at the end. And before we begin, I will introduce our panelists. So joining us today, we have Bree, who leads our science and arts program, and it's in its fifth year, where students explore science, engineering, and creativity through hands-on projects to build their science identity and confidence to pursue science subjects in school and for their careers. And is Dr. Ming online with us yet? See Macy?
I don't see me.
Don't see Ming. All right. So when Dr. Ming joins us, we'll include him in the conversation and get him caught up to speed. But Dr. Ming, he'll be leading our first robotics program along with his two sons to support SEGA students as they explore different challenges to problem solve with LEGO robotics kits. We're also excited to hear from Angela, 2025 volunteer, who shared what a typical day looked like for her during her time at SEGA. And a big thank you to all of our panelists for being here with us. That being said, we'll start off with a quick question to help everyone get to know our panelists today. So, Bree, I'll start with you.
Okay.
So,
Uh,
oh,
Go ahead.
so how did you first get involved with Nurture Minds and the SEGA and Arts program?
Well, there was this lovely lady that I had a conversation with, very impromptu, away from home at a conference. And her passion around what she was doing with this program just really said to me that this is something I want to know more about. And so we have online Dr. Zakia Green, who I'm glad could join because I was going to talk about you anyways, but now you know exactly what I'm saying about you, my dear. So I was invited to join, just to join in with the STEM committee that was writing the curriculum that would be presented, and just how dedicated the volunteers were, how intentional the curriculum was. And I've been a long time supporter and leader in STEM. This was something I wanted to be a part of. And so, very simply, one day Zakia and I said, "Hey, are you going?" "Yeah, I think I'm going to go." Just like that, we decided that we were going to Tanzania almost impromptu. And it was the best decision. It was the easiest. And everything from that point of saying, yes, we were going to go, lined up amazingly well. And that's how I ended up in Tanzania at Morogoro at this school. So, yeah.
I love that. Zakia is such a great connector of people and introducing folks to this amazing program. So I love the shout out to Zakia right there in the beginning. So, what initially, I guess, drew you, Bree, to working with the students in this program?
Well, there was a desire to do mission work for some time, but I thought maybe that wasn't for me, given my comforts that I like to have, and just, I raised my own family and it didn't see where it could fit into my life. But I knew that giving back in STEM education globally is important. And then when I connected with you at Nurturing Minds and others at SEGA and the volunteers, it just seemed like this is something that's really feasible and that can be done. I also truly believe that sometimes you need to see examples of caring people to let you know just how wonderful you are when you're a child. And it doesn't matter if you're a child in the US or a child in Tanzania. We are those kids, just like the kids here, can be an amazing change for a better future. So that sounds real like sing-songy, but I believe it's true. And you just don't know what potential you're going to unlock when you show up as a volunteer in a space that you can add your voice to. So that's why that's one thing that's special about being able to be there and help.
I love that. Your answer is very Hallmark cardy, and I love that. So thank you. I remember when you first arrived at SEGA and you were very jet lagged, and I was like, "Come on, Bree, we're going to do our intro. We're going to meet our students." And you were just like, "Yes, let's do it." And while we're walking to the football pitch, you were like, "All right, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to meet the students for the first time." And you jumped right into it, and it was fantastic. And the students loved our little impromptu dance party.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It was. It
Yeah.
definitely. So then, what excites you most about the science and the creative activities students are doing at the school right now?
Well, this year we're adding art. So STEM has become STEAM. And I believe art helps or open up a creative pathway within our minds. Yes, I really love science. That's my background. But that art makes it that much more inclusive, where you can think creatively and constructively with also an engineering mindset and a scientific way of exploring your areas around you. So I'm really excited to see how the students embrace art within STEM this year. We're adding that to the curriculum. And I'm really excited to see some of the students that I saw last year. It's easy to get attached and see those smiling faces. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how they progressed since we were there on campus last year.
I do love that. The students will definitely recognize you, and they'll probably remember certain conversations you had, things you liked, what you didn't like. They're going to remember and want to talk to you about it again. So I love
Yes.
that too. So one thing, I just want to do a quick check out loud. Is Ming online with us yet? Okay, because everybody's coming through as Miranda. I can't tell people's names. Okay.
Um,
No, he's not.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Just want to do a quick check then. So one thing that many people joining us are probably wondering is what it's actually like to volunteer, Bree. So can you kind of give us a snapshot? And we'll get more into this with Angela too during her section,
mhm.
but can you give us a snapshot of what a typical day for a volunteer looked like? Like, what is it really like to be living at the school, volunteering at the school, interacting with the students? Kind of walk us through what that experience was like for you.
Okay, sure. And this was not scheduled, but I would love to pass that to Zakia if you're willing to come off mute. And Zakia has visited SEGA twice now, once with her daughter, which was I'm sure, a wonderful experience. And I've been once, but I'd love for Zakia to talk about what propelled her to go back twice and what her days were like while she was there last summer.
Well, I never mind talking about Sega, and so thank you, Bree. Even if it's impromptu, we continually be impromptu, huh? That's the why we work well. So when we first started with the Sega, when I first started joining with the Sega, it was from someone else. I'd like to give that person also acknowledgement. I believe she's still a board member, Rukia, and she and I worked together at the Food and Drug Administration. And similar to Bree, when she told us about it, it was like, oh yeah, helping young girls in science, absolutely. We jumped online, similar to what Bree did, and we looked at the curriculum. We established the curriculum, and we decided. And when we went, excuse me, first, my daughter and I sponsored a student, and we developed a pen pal relationship with a student, and it was incredible. I was woefully shocked at how well the students, at being so young and English was not their first language, able to write and communicate and be very excited to communicate with a student across the globe. So from all of that, I was really impressed. So I was going to go visit. SEGA has this opportunity for if you sponsor a student, for visitors to come visit their students. So my daughter and I were going to come to the school, but unfortunately, COVID happened, so we were unable to go. So after in 20, this was around 2020 something. So after that, Rukia had mentioned, oh, we're developing this camp. Do you want to be a part of it? And then we should go. And so that was the backstory behind how I eventually decided to go once the STEM Adventures Camp began, because I went the first year it began. And when I got there, I think most of us have been there, can understand this, but for those of you who've not had a chance to visit SEGA, it is, and their energy is infectious. Their love and their desire for you is authentic and real, and it kind of vibrates in your core. So outside of just the science, the human connection piece, and to see young people want to be so connected to you is impressive. And if you are a person that's into mission work, it will fulfill everything. It would check all boxes. So while there, I was extremely impressed with the way the students were sitting. Like my children, I gotta threaten them and come sit, do your homework. We got this assignment. Not these kids. I mean, they are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed early in the morning. So to give them the same degree of respect, because they respected the fact that we were there. They were anxious, not anxious, but they were very happy to learn, and they were very engaging. And so it was more than just these students really took this opportunity to understand that this was changing the trajectory of their lives, and they were being introduced to fields of study some of them had never been either exposed to or even knew about. And so it was just so wonderful. So it wasn't hard for me to want to make the choice to go back again the next time when I met Bree for the first time. Thank you for the opportunity to share that story, Bree, and I'm happy to chime in and answer any additional questions anyone may have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zakia, and thank you, Bree. So then a follow-up question to that, since we kind of heard more about like from the volunteer perspective, what volunteers are experiencing during the program. What about the students, Bree? What are the students doing during these programs? What sort of activities will they be taking part of?
Um, Zakia already mentioned that the students are eager. They want this education. They want your attention. So to talk about like what the day is like, we start the day in the volunteer house, going over what we're going to do for that day, review the curriculum and the topics that we need to present and how we'll do that with the students. This is after we've already had like an overall review of what the curriculum is. I actually was pleasantly surprised to enjoy breakfast, lunch, and dinner with the volunteers at the volunteer house every day. It became to be, we use the word family, and I don't think I'm using it lightly. Depending on how fast you are in this race here in America and what your schedule is like, it's a wonderful break from that go culture, and I really appreciated that. So we start the mornings together, and then we head out to the students, and they're ready. The students meet us, and we break into the classrooms and do instruction. We have a midday break for tea with the students, which is just a leisure time to just have conversations with them. And then we have lunch again together at the volunteer house for all the volunteers. And then we wrap up the day with instruction before we have opportunities for either a designated break, or we have different activities that happen with the students. So the way that I see it, they're looking for you. They call you Madame and Mr. And they are eager to help you carry things. And the reason I'm mentioning this is not because of the convenience of it, but it is the respect and it is the care that you're given while you're there. Yeah, who doesn't want to be fed morning, lunch, dinner? You know, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. As a person who's a caregiver in her home, that was top notch for me. So the students, they want you to look in their notebooks. They want you to spend time with them one-on-one whenever there's an opportunity. And I love that that is an option and that they're willing.
Awesome. Thank you, Bree. I know I heard a lot from the volunteers last year, like, oh, I can take a break from cooking for a week. I'm like, yes, you can. Kick back, relax. We've got this. So
Yeah.
great. So then, what kind of skills or experiences do volunteers really need to help guide the students through these different activities through their day?
You know, compassion and empathy is really the skills that you need, because the curriculum is written by phenomenal people with science and engineering backgrounds. They are going to deliver a top-notch curriculum and every detail you need to provide that education to the students. All you have to do is be able to read it and follow. We don't need you to have any particular experience teaching or any particular experience in science and technology. That will come. There's people there to help you understand the curriculum. You will have an opportunity to review it, to ask all the questions before you even arrive in Tanzania. So the number one skill is just your compassion and your willingness.
Love that. Thank you, Bree. And I see Angela's quick addition.
Yeah, I just want to add, I very much do not have a science background. I went to a business school that was only business school. So you didn't need any type of science background. They wrote the curriculum so well. It was so easy to follow along with. And it makes you understand too. Like I feel like I'm kind of a woman in STEM now. I don't use it at all in my life, but
You do
you
use
definitely
science every day when you cook, when you make coffee, or
Oh
using
yeah, sorry. That's what we
something
teach
I
the girls too.
Yes, Angela, we are
Thank you.
science adjacent. Science
Yes,
adjacent.
science adjacent.
Yes, thank you, Zakia, for that. And I see that Dr. Ming has joined us. Hi, Ming. Thank you for being here. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm Min Shu. I was a scientist before my retirement in 2023. I joined SEGA's program last summer for a week with my older son, Alan. We had a wonderful time there last summer, and then we were surprised by the trip, and then we will take care very well during our stay.
Thank you, Ming. So I'm going to just ask you a question immediately following that. Is for someone who is passionate is passionate but may not feel like an expert in science or in robotics, since you're bringing in this robotics piece, like what would you say to those volunteers who have that passion but may not feel like they're an expert in those certain fields?
Yeah, I would say the robotics program for this summer, we have good preparation and have very clear instruction for the curriculum. So in the background, you see some robotics. 2025 first LEGO League robotics program with tons of information available online for both building instructions and software. So it's very straightforward. And we have all the materials available online. So you can have, we would like to have robotics experience or without robotics experience. And there are clear step-by-step instructions for the entire curriculum.
Great. Thank you, Ming. So then if we talk more about the students' experience, then Bree, what changes or growth did you see last year in the science program in the students?
I think as a biologist for 40 years, and I was involved in the STEM project related to agriculture techniques like irrigation. I think the most impressive portion of my interactions with the students was to discussing their experience in their families in agricultural practice, like composting, irrigation practice. And then so because I love organic farming, and I have a backyard orchard, and so we engage in the information exchange. I think that expressed me and impressed me a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Volunteers learn so much from students, just as students are learning from us as well. So then, Bree, from your perspective, then in your experience, what growth or changes did you see in the students last year that stood out to you?
Yeah, I think they learn the science and technology from drip irrigation. For example, the scientific approach to various problems, like how to set up irrigation in the orchard, and we discuss how the roots absorb water, what's the watering circle, and then I try not overwhelming the irrigation system, and to set up an irrigation circle around the perimeter of the fruit trees. And what's the scientific base for that? So I think for the students, it's important to learn the scientific approach to various problems, try to observe, try to understand the scientific background, instead just follow the instruction, follow the curriculum. The other thing is try to have teamwork, and then we exchange information by extensive group discussion, teamwork.
Great. Thank you so much, Ming, for sharing. And I see that Zakia has her hand. Oh.
Yeah, I wanted to speak to answer your question and then pass it directly to Bree. I realized that they had a lot by the end of the week, a lot of confidence was built. The children are incredibly bashful, but by the end of the week, they were a lot more confident. They knew how to articulate. Bree introduced this concept of delivering a pitch. So they developed a lot of life skills, not just about science, a lot of life skills. Bree, you want to comment on Miranda's questions, elaborate more on Miranda's question?
Yeah, you touched on it. The most amazing thing to see was them come out of their shell. They are very shy and timid, and the level of questions that they asked by the midpoint towards the end, like sometimes I had to pause and really reflect on their deep questions, and that impressed me to no end. And also seeing them help each other. So allowing time for them to co-educate or peer-to-peer teaching was a game changer, because I could see that they had really absorbed a lot of information and could actually reflect it back to their peers.
Great. Thank you, Bree. So I'm going to stay with you for a moment longer than Bree. And can you share a memorable moment that captures the impact of the science program that you experienced last year?
Ooh, so many. I think it's the one student, when I first sat down, where I'm a little bit nervous and I'm wondering, am I going to be the one that has the cultural faux pas, or am I going to do something interesting that I shouldn't? I sat down next to one student, and very quickly she told me, I asked them what do they want to do, and she said, I want to be a cardiologist. And I was just taken back. And at this time, I was very much involved in the cardiovascular group at the company I worked for. So I was just so surprised to hear her determination. It reminded me that we all have dreams no matter where we live. And some of us dream bigger and have visions that we haven't seen it, but we're going to do it anyways. And then by the end of the program, this same student was calling herself a cardiologist and wrote in her notebook what that is, and like owned it and claimed it and can believe it true for herself. That's probably one of the most impactful moments that made me brought a tear.
Thank you. I love that story, Bree. So then, Ming, I'll switch over to you now. Can you share a memorable moment? I'm going to make your question specific about the trial sessions that you've been having with the SEGA students that you're trained to be mentors during the robotics program this summer. So can you share kind of a memorable moment so far or something that's really stayed with you from these trial sessions that we've been hosting virtually with the students and the teachers so far this year? And Ming, you're on mute.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Well, overall, I was very impressed by the curiosity of the students. The training started with the current first Lego League program, and the students had many questions beyond what was included in the original plan. They were highly interested in sensors. So we think that's very important part of any robotics program. And so particularly the color sensors and distance sensors. And so we started teaching those parts without the original planning. We went along with, based on students' curiosity and interest. So the students, I feel, highly motivated. They have many important questions. They can engage with the technology and the science. So beyond my original expectation for the age group between 11 and 15 years old. Seems to me this group of students seem more mature than many students here I met in the elementary school or middle school in California. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you, Ming. One thing that's really stood out to me from these trial sessions is how the students started asking you for more challenges. They're like, send us more challenges, Dr. Ming. We want more challenges to work on throughout the week. And just their enthusiasm around it was really great. So thank you, Ming. Thank you, Bree, for sharing your stories, your passion, your experience with us. We'll now hear from someone who has experience volunteering at SEGA for firsthand as well. So Angela, I'm going to welcome you. And you volunteered last year in the Science and Arts program with Bree and Ming. So to kind of start your questions here, could you kind of walk us, same question I asked Bree earlier, walk us through your day. What was your day actually like when you were volunteering?
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me, guys. So like Bree was saying, the day always started with breakfast. And it was just nice to be able to like wake up and have a like refreshing meal with what Bree said. It was like a family towards, even at the beginning, everyone was so open to just talk with each other, and it wasn't even just about the program, just about life, what got us there, what we're doing when we're home, everything. So that was kind of the start of the day. Then we'd walk through and the girls would bring us to our classes. We'd walk them through classes, and I was able to see a lot of our classes were very different. All of us ran things very differently, which is fun to see and fun to see how the girls took that, because we had the curriculum, which we were all following, but kind of like what Ming was saying as well, we all took it in different directions based on what our groups were interested in. And so the days kind of, you have a very strict timeline that you follow, which is super helpful to kind of get things moving along. But as the week goes on, you just like the students are eager to learn more. They're like, oh no, we don't need that break, or we don't need to do this. Like, we get it. Like, let's keep doing this. And that was really fun. And I know one of my favorite parts of the day, any day at SEGA, is being able to just hang out with the students and like interact with them, because they always want to. They're never gonna like be like, no, like we're gonna go and stay in our dorms. Like, we don't want to do anything. That's not anything I've ever heard one of those students say. If you're willing to hang out with them, they're willing to be with you as well. And that's what most of the evenings were spent doing. We'd eat lunch, maybe have another session or two But the rest of the evening was kind of left up to our own discretion, which was really nice. Just to be able to, whether it's dancing, talking with them, teaching them more, like they would always have questions. I think Brie and Ming both touched on this. Questions about you or science, or maybe they don't want to be in science. Some of them are business students. So they would be asking me, like, Madam, like, what about this in business? What do you do in business? And a lot of it is based around entrepreneurship, which is what I went to school for. So it was very exciting to be able to share that with them because they're so young. They are so little and cute and have all these questions I would have never had at their age. So every day is so different, but also so structured and like keeps you kind of sane in the same way. Because, like Bree said, you have dinner and you get to kind of like settle down with the group, and it's like a family, and you're just enjoying a nice family style dinner. So, one of my favorite parts of the day too is just getting back together with everyone and hearing how, like, oh, Bree, how was your day today? Like, what did that student say to you? I saw you doing this. What was it? It's really meaningful to be able to have that connection with both the volunteers and the students.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate those debriefing sessions in the afternoon
Yeah.
with all the volunteers. Absolutely, to share stories, what we learned, what we're taking with us to the following day, those type of conversations. So you kind of touched on it a little bit in your question. We talked about the food and the itinerary and the structure and things like this, but how were you supported during the program or even in your preparation for the program too? How did you feel supported and what supports were you given?
Well, I mean, Miranda, you're awesome. I know you're not going to toot your own horn, but Miranda's honestly so good at making sure that you are prepared to go on this trip. And she sends you so many documents. And I'm not going to lie, I was there for a long time and I didn't read all of her documents, and I really wish I did. But she gives you all the means to be prepared to be at SEGA, whether it's like just to stay there, staying in the volunteer house, or like teaching the actual lessons. She has a huge part in writing the curriculum too, and making sure it's like accessible for the SEGA students. Because if you haven't been there, it's kind of hard to understand how they learn things, and it's so different than how we learn things here because there's the language barrier, but also just they haven't been taught like an American system teaches. So she makes you feel really prepared, and also like you have professionals like Zakia, Ming, and Bree who know what they're talking about. You're never gonna have a group that's all people like me that don't come from a STEM background, and so you can kind of build off of each other. Because I mean, I have a different viewpoint on how things that like a dedicated scientist would see things, and I think you're really able to build off each other like that.
Awesome. Thank you, Angela. Thank you for the shout out as well. I appreciate it. So I definitely appreciate you sharing your perspectives about volunteering at the program and what you experienced and the support that you received. So now I want to play a very special video from two SEGA students. So we'll actually hear directly from their perspectives on what they enjoy most about SEGA. I was trying to put SEGA and science together in one word. That doesn't work yet. So about science and then working with the volunteers. So let me get my screen share going.
Miranda, while you're pulling that up, I wanted to share, when you asked the most memorable moment, I'll be really brief for time. One memorable moment, and I'm going to call out both Zakia and Angela for two different things. So this is a moment with the volunteers. I walk in and Alan, Dr. Mean's oldest son, who was in high school, I believe, is teaching Zakia how to fence in the volunteer house. And I heard it first, and I walked in, and they are full on. And Zakia, I have video. I will never show it, I promise, but it just reminds me how our stresses came down as volunteers. And then Angela, you and I were on the field trip we went on. I forget where we went, but I remember us on the swings, just swinging like children with our legs up, and just, yes, we're there to teach these kids. We're there to also live a life a little bit different than what we do in our day-to-day grind. So those are two really memorable moments, but it looks like Miranda has us up and ready to go now. So this is just going to melt your heart even more.
Thank you, Bree. I do remember the fencing. I do remember that. Thank you for that. All right. So we'll hear from Rosemary and Nima.
Hi, my name is Rosemary. Can you tell us your name and your age?
My name is Neema Maxim Suya.
a Form 2 Science student. I am 14 years old. What do you like to do most at SEGA? I mean, engineering, arts, or science? The more thing I like in learning here at SEGA is all about engineering, whereby in engineering, I learn about making different machines that help us to simplify its work. Example, in a school, I learn about irrigation system, and the irrigation system can be applied in garden of a school. Did you learn anything new or challenging in science program last year in Form 1? Yes, I learned something that was challenging. Astronomy was something that really challenged me because it was my first time to hear about that, and it was challenging because in some parts, example, how astronomers performs their activities on the space. So it challenged me a lot, but finally I understood it. Can you share a moment that made you feel happy or excited about something you accomplished? The moment that made me feeling happy to accomplish it was a final presentation, whereby in my presentation, we presented about irrigation systems. For really, I was happy because the attention which my fellow students and volunteers paid me make me so excited. And also, I enjoyed the confidence I had. I spoke in audible voice. How do you feel about the impact of science and technology on your community or country? As we know, science is all about reality. Its reality can be proved by its impact, and its impact can be shown through its development in a society. So I'm feeling so proud to be among persons who can bring this development in the society, and example of this development in a society and country. We have SGR in our country, which is among the impact of science and technology. Well, thank you. Thank you too.
I love that Nima shared that she had the confidence at the end for her presentation, and that's one of the goals of the program, right, is to build their confidence in these subjects. So it's really lovely to hear that almost a year later, she still remembers that confidence that she felt in that moment. So then now I'll continue with the slideshow here. And Zakia, you'll see your face here. I will kind of talk a little bit more about the practical details about the programs and how you can get involved this summer. So as you've heard, we're offering 2 exciting programs at SEGA. So we have our Science and Art program, traditionally titled STEAM Adventures at SEGA. So it's in its 5th year. This program mentors students ages between 12 to 14. Volunteers work alongside the SEGA science teachers and SEGA graduates as well to inspire students to pursue science education and careers. Volunteers will help students explore their science identity as they tackle the program question this year is how can we transform existing spaces at SEGA Girls School into sustainable food-producing environments that nourish both the campus and the community. And I think we've even talked about having a cooking session or something, Bree. So maybe there's some more food involved. So then for our first ever robotics program, we'll welcome volunteers to coach and mentor students ages between 15 to 16. Volunteers together with SEGA teachers and graduates will guide students to applying teamwork and discovery to explore robotics challenges, innovate with new ideas for their robot and their different projects, demonstrate impact and inclusivity in those solutions, and then, of course, celebrating successes and having fun along the way with a big celebration after the competition on the last day. So volunteers can participate in one program or both programs sequentially. There are options to do that. So as a volunteer in either or both programs, you've heard a bit, but I'll talk a bit about more too, that you will work directly, like I said, you'll have a big support group there between staff, students, graduates, and other volunteers. We all are working to support each other. You're supporting hands-on projects, experiments, builds, and prototyping. Mentoring, so we'll work with small student groups and you co-teach with other volunteers and with other graduates. So you're not in the classroom by yourself. We'll also guide final presentations, like what Nima said, competitions, and different demonstrations throughout the week. And a really fun part is you still have a chance to really explore Tanzania too. So we'll visit student homes, we'll go to town, go some shopping for the open air markets, the fabric markets. Of course, we eat a lot of local cuisine, which is delicious. And there's also multiple cultural exchange opportunities on campus with students. So we play sports like football or netball or basketball or volleyball. There's different dancing, music, games. There's a fashion show too. And also there's a 2-day, can't not forget to mention, a 2-day safari in nearby Mikumi National Park as well for the volunteers to kind of celebrate your experience in Tanzania. So then volunteers, you've heard about a little bit more about it from Bree and Ming and Angela and Zakia, but volunteers enjoy comfortable accommodations on SEGA's campus that include in-suite bathrooms, Wi-Fi, water, and solar power. All meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner are prepared by the SEGA chefs, Loveness and Hija. There's dedicated hospitality staff to ensure your comfort and you're fully supported. And there's also more in-country logistics supports. We pre-book hotels, we pre-book airport transfers for you, transportations in Dar es Salaam and Morogoro are taken care of as well, train tickets, your safari is also pre-organized and all other tours are pre-arranged for you as well. We also personalize our pre-trip preparation. Angela mentioned this a bit. We do help with some flight and visa guidance, medical and vaccine recommendations, packing lists, cultural humility conversations. There's so many documents that actually have them linked on our website, but all this information just to help you really feel prepared and supported. So the land costs that you see listed here for all 3 programs or 2 programs, and then the one where you can do both STEM and robotics. Cover all payments to our third-party vendors, such as hotels, chefs, housekeepers, drivers, tour guides, your safari, and your stay at SEGA helps support the financial sustainability of the school. The land cost and itinerary are designed to be inclusive and hassle-free, so we want you to focus on enjoying your time, mentoring and connecting with students, and really having a good time in Tanzania. So then, if you are interested in learning more about the program, you want to dive a bit deeper into them, all you have to do is scan this QR code. Of course, I'm going to send this as a follow-up too, including this recording I'll send as a follow-up. But scan the QR code and it's going to link you to a volunteer interest form. I will reach out. We will schedule a short introductory call. I can answer more questions that you may have, and then you confirm participation by following the registration link. So I'm actually going to close our slides now so we can come back together as one big group. Let's do this. Stop share. Perfect. Hello. All right. So now I would love to hear from you all. If you have any questions for us, you can raise your hand, come off mute and ask them out loud. But Sharon, any questions in the chat that we should be aware of first?
Yes. Diane said, I am interested but listening off. Sorry. No question, actually. Scratch that.
Great. Thank you, Diane. I love that.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Oscar.
Yeah, sorry. I know my connection is not very good here because, as you know, we have very poor connection. But all I would like to say to you all who participated in one way or another, on behalf of the SEGA board, I would like to appreciate for all your efforts and everything you have been doing for our students. Sorry, I haven't been part of what you are doing in all the years since you started conducting STEM sessions at SEGA. Fortunately, our duties sometimes get interrupted by the government, so I'm sorry for that. But I would like to appreciate for all that you are doing. It is a great job that no one has been expecting that our students would be getting that nutritive dose of education. Thank you so much. Thank you indeed.
Thank you, Oscar. One year it will work out for you to join us through the program. I have faith.
Sure.
And for those of you who don't know Oscar's a founding board member of SEGA. So he's been an integral part of building this organization in Tanzania. And he has a real passion for science. And thank you, Oscar, for always supporting the program too.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you.
Quick question. Is it
Please.
during the volunteer meeting that we go into like deeper details about logistics and the okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Diane, I'll send you a follow-up email. We will chat more about, and I'll get on the phone with you and I'll answer questions, go through the daily itinerary, the daily agenda, what that will look like, what your flight should look like, what time you should arrive, all of that information.
Okay.
Yeah. Perfect. So then, Bree, Angela, or Ming, I do have one last question for you, maybe like as a surprise question. So just what advice would you give to someone who does decide to volunteer and they want to really make the most out of their time at the school? What advice would you give them?
I wouldn't give you any advice, to be honest, because everyone's experience is so different and so personal. I could not have imagined what my time at SEGA was going to be, even if Zakia or Miranda, or who else did I know at the time, had said it will be this way. It was so much more. So the advice I would give would just be 100% be you. And since I don't know you yet, I'm not the one to tell you what that is, but your personality is welcomed. Your thoughts and your opinions and the way that you want to act for your day, it all matters here. It's very different than, say, your work day, where there's a structure and there's a way of being, a way of speaking. All of that falls away, and you'll pick up on that very quickly. Ask the questions. There's nothing outside of scope. So my advice is just be open and be there. This is something you really can't get wrong. You can't get it wrong in life. You can't get it wrong.
I totally agree with what Bree was saying. That's like all I would say as well. Just go in open-minded and be yourself. Like, they don't know. These students are already so impressed by you when you're getting there. And I've been a few times on different types of trips, and like I never tell anyone I'm going with what it's like. No matter what it is, all I say is like, you might have to go to the bathroom in a hole sometimes, not at SEGA, but maybe if you're out. And just have a good time. Don't hold yourself back because you're scared, because there's nothing to be scared about. It will be an amazing time.
Thank you, Angela. So if there are no more questions coming through the chat or through voice, so I'll just wrap up then with a close. So thanking you all so much for joining Nurturing Minds today and learning more about our summer volunteer programs at the SEGA Girls School. If you are interested in joining us this summer, we'd love to continue the conversation with you. So please feel free to reach out, sign up through the link that we'll send after this. And if you know someone else who may be interested, we encourage you to share the opportunity with them as well. I'm happy to chat with them all. So thank you all again for your time, and we hope to see you at Tanzania.
Miranda, before you close, since we have just a few minutes, something we didn't talk about in detail was that we go visit a well-known university with the students and what that was like, and the other field trips that we take, where we get to see a little bit more of Morogoro and the other areas. Could you talk to how that's planned and what the volunteers can expect from those travels?
So you're switching it up. Now I'm part of the panel.
Yes, you are.
Okay, great. I love it. So for the science program, we do go off campus with the students, and we visit Sokoone University of Agriculture, which is a top-rated agricultural university in East Africa. And we go there to really bring science to life for the girls right there in their communities. So last year we did a tour through the botanical garden, but they also got a conversation with some of the administrators at the university to talk to them about college preparedness, what that would look like, how could they get into SUA, what courses are available there. So that was a lot of fun to kind of go spend a whole day walking around this beautiful botanical garden. I think we got mango and we got grapefruits. And so we had all this big handful of fruits walking around. So that was a good time. But aside from that, with the STEM program, we also go into town. We have dinner and lunch in town as well, to kind of switch up the food a little bit more. And then we visit the fabric market so that we have a tailor that comes to school and you can get a personalized outfit. I know a lot of volunteers get a lot of ideas off of Pinterest, which is a lot of fun. The tailor Hussein does an excellent job. And then we also go on safari too. It's a 2-day safari with an overnight and a tented camp, which is a beautiful way to kind of relax and kind of debrief with all the volunteers and kind of really celebrate all of the experiences that you had throughout the week. So that's kind of more of the off-campus experience. I know a lot of volunteers too, when they travel over, since it is such a long trip for us, they'll explore before or after. They'll go do other safaris and other places, because I know the Serengeti is there, Zanzibar, things like that. Tanzania is a big country with lots to see and experience, so they take advantage of the trip while they're there.
Yeah, let me add a few words that so the coming summer will be my second trip to SEGA, and my older son and will also go, and then he's in process to persuade his friend in computer science to join him. So the young people have lots of fun for this trip. My advice is to keep your curiosity, and you can learn a lot from the trip, and either in the school, engagement with the students, or you do shopping and in the city or in the town, and then you can observe. If you keep your curiosity, you can observe, and then you can learn a lot of things.
Thank you, Ming. I remember your son really liked the shopping trips, the sunglasses, the watches, all that. He really appreciated all the different things he could buy. Awesome. So then I will wrap up now. So thank you all again for your time. We really appreciate the time you spent with us this afternoon, and we really hope that we see some of you in Tanzania this summer. So thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great